Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling lake, there lived a little cat named Milo. Now, Milo wasn't your typical pampered house cat or a grumpy stray. Oh no, my little friend. Milo was a farm cat, a true working cat who spent his days chasing mice and his nights curled up by the warm oven in the farmhouse kitchen. But what set Milo apart from all the other cats in the countryside wasn't his sleek fur or his piercing green eyes, but his heart, a heart so big it seemed to spill over with kindness and empathy. You see, Milo wasn't content with just catching mice or basking in the sun. He wanted to help everyone. He wanted to make the world a better place, one per at a time. And let me tell you, he did just that. Every morning when the sun peeked over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, Milo would wake up with a smile. Yes, a smile. A cat who smiles. How wonderful is that? He would stretch his paws up to the heavens and purr a happy tune, a melody that echoed the joy in his heart. After a hearty breakfast of milk and fish, which Mrs. Periwinkle, the kind old woman who owned the farm, had prepared for him, Milo would set out on his daily rounds. His first stop was always the hen house. Here he would greet Henrietta the hen, a plump, clucking bird with a heart of gold. "Good morning, Henrietta," Milo would say, his voice a soft rumble. "How are you today?" And Henrietta, who despite her feathery exterior, had a soft spot for the friendly cat, would reply, "Oh, splendid, Milo, splendid. Just don't eat my chicks, will you?" And Milo, with a wink, would promise he wouldn't. Then he'd visit the cows, Daisy and Bess, who were as gentle as they were big. He'd rub against their legs, purring loudly, and they'd moo their appreciation. Next, it was off to the sheep pasture where he'd play hide and seek among the woolly flock. The sheep, with their gentle bleating, were always delighted to see him. But it wasn't just the animals who loved Milo. The villagers also held him in high regard. Why, you ask? Well, because Milo had a knack for helping people, too. You see, whenever someone in the village needed a hand, Milo was there. If Mrs. Bumble was struggling to carry her groceries, Milo would jump in and help. If Mr. Grumble, the grumpy old cobbler, needed something from the top shelf, Milo would leap up and fetch it. And if little Emma was feeling down, Milo would curl up on her lap and purr until she smiled. And let me tell you, his services weren't limited to the village. There was a big forest at the edge of the town, a place filled with all sorts of creatures, some friendly and some not so friendly. And Milo, with his kind heart, made sure everyone in the forest was safe. He chased away the foxes, who meant harm to the rabbits, helped the squirrels find their way home after a storm, and even befriended a wise old owl named Professor Hoots. One day, however, while Milo was on his rounds, he heard a cry for help that tore through the tranquil air like a gust of wind. It was a desperate, heart-wrenching plea that tugged at the very core of his being. Without hesitation, Milo dashed towards the sound, his paws pounding the earth, his heart pounding in his chest. As he raced through the familiar paths of the forest, the cries grew louder, more frantic. Suddenly, he emerged into a clearing, and what he saw there made his blood run cold. A young rabbit, no bigger than a teacup, was trapped at the bottom of a deep hole. The rabbit's eyes were wide with terror, its breathing ragged. It struggled to free itself from the sticky situation it found itself in. But the more it struggled, the deeper it sank into the mud. Without a moment's thought for his own safety, Milo jumped into the hole. The mud sucked at his paws, the darkness threatened to swallow him, but he pressed on. As he reached the frightened rabbit, Milo spoke in a soothing voice. "Don't worry, little one. I'm here to help." With these words of comfort, Milo began to dig frantically with his paws, flinging the dirt upwards. Now, digging in such a confined space was no easy feat, but Milo was determined. The soft earth yielded slowly to his efforts, and bit by bit, he created a pathway to the surface. The rabbit watched, hope dawning in its eyes as Milo worked tirelessly. At last, with one final heave, Milo broke through the surface. Gasping for breath, but with a triumphant gleam in his eye, he beckoned to the rabbit. "Come on, little one, you're free." The rabbit, its body covered in mud, hesitated for a moment before scrambling up the newly made opening and tumbling out onto the soft grass. Shaking off the last of the mud, the rabbit looked back at Milo with eyes filled with gratitude. It was a look that warmed Milo's heart more than any bowl of cream ever could. In that moment, he knew he had done something special. He had saved a life. News of Milo's heroic deeds spread like wildfire through the forest and the village. Soon, the entire community was buzzing with admiration for the brave cat. Professor Hoots, the wise old owl, couldn't stop himself from hooting with pride. The cows, Daisy and Bess, mooed his praises. And Henrietta the hen clucked incessantly about the wonderful cat who had a heart bigger than his belly. As for Milo, he remained as humble as ever. He continued his daily rounds, helping everyone he met along the way. He didn't do it for the praise or the recognition. He did it because it made him happy. Years went by, and Milo, though now a little older and a little grayer around the muzzle, never lost his kind heart or his helpful nature. He continued to be the hero of the village, the savior of the forest, the cat with a heart of gold. And whenever the sun set over the horizon, casting long shadows across the land, the animals and people of the village gathered in the clearing to tell stories about Milo, the little cat who loved to help. Their voices echoed through the still evening air, keeping the memory of Milo's kindness alive, reminding everyone that even the smallest creature can have the biggest heart.